Okay, so I give back my Wi-Fi, but I think that doing that do this video, that is time speaking in offline, it is easier and it doesn't have to and I don't have to go to the internet because I'm posting the video, so it's gonna you know uh log like for me to use it. So I'm gonna use the offline video which I have downloaded when the when my since my Wi-Fi is interrupted. Okay, let's start it. It's gonna be here, right? Let me find it. Right, this one. Science, you can be the best. I would say you can be the best. Is being top 10% of class good enough for you? No. If you want something, you gotta get after it. And then you start producing good results and then you build confidence along the way. It's gonna be changed. Here are 10 techniques that I swear by as a medical student. They help me get into the medicine and I use these on the day-to-day basis. Half of them focus on the actual study techniques and the other half focus on study mentality, which is important. Let's start with the first one. First, you're going to study from the testable core materials hours. So let's say the box represents all the information that is presented to you, and you start in the middle. Each set of material. Someone who doesn't know how to study will go from top to bottom, covering every single detail. And when the exam camp comes, they haven't covered like 20 to 30% of what is tested. Where someone who knows how to study will start from the middle, study from core materials, and then testable, and then study hours, and then the time camp comes. And so they haven't studied everything, they study what is important and what is testable. And I'm really going to be the best student possible. I want to be the best doctor as possible. So when studying, we have this tendency to try to learn everything. But we have to make this message shift from focusing on those long-term goals to short-term goals. And those short-term goals is good. When you're taking courses, go to pass in a good grades in every midterm and every attempt that is presented before. And then those long-term will take care of themselves. So how do you know what is studyable or not? There are three ways of figuring it out. First is to look for practice test or previous test. Sometimes the lecturers give you more, computers in the day of the lecture to go over on. Pay attention to those. I also looked online and undergrad to figure out if there are any practice tests lying around, and asked seniors if they have taken the course and if they have any practice material. I asked my friend who was taking the course. You can use your resources to figure out if there are any additional material and briefing of seminar or learner. So when you material are always imagine in your mind, how can I test it on the multiple choice format? How can I set this in short answer format? And then try to learn that way. Number two on the list is to write good concise note and manage your time coming forward to midterms and all exams. And then constantly evaluate your studying that you're following behind. So for example, let's say you're taking 5 courses and before midterm you have to go over 10 lectures per course. And then each lecture has 50 slides and totals up to 2,500 slides that you have to go over before midterm. So you have to write a good concise note that summarizes everything that makes it manageable for you to go over materials before you write midterms so that you're not overloaded. Should write good notes as much as possible containing keywords and important information. You know that if you don't remember something from your note, you can have PowerPoint slides that you can always fall back on. Number three on the list is to use active recall when learning. I made a video on this previously that you can watch it, but let me spend on that further here. Let me start off by giving you examples of students who don't know how to learn, how to study. So represented with an affirmation like mitochondria is a powerhouse of a cell. What is the ways without thinking? They just write. Nothing is going to come into the brains. So what I do when I go over my notes is when I read the information, I write all the keywords, and then I just while looking at my note, I looked at the keyword, for example, what is mitochondria? And then I try to think mitochondria is the powerhouse of a cell. What is powerhouse of a cell? And then I try to supplement information from the lecture is power of the habit to produce ATP. So I'm using all of my senses. I'm writing that, which is the tactical motion. I'm saying things out, which is the verbal. I'm looking at my notes, Previously, I'm using all my visual cues, and I'm saying I'm listening, so I'm using also my auditory senses. And most often, when you're actively recalling, you cannot remember all the information, and that's okay because studies have shown that just by attempting to recall, you are gaining the connection between the information and your memory. Number four is cannot emphasize this enough. Reviewing is just as important as learning new information. So if I have 20 lectures to go over before midterms, for example, it's about to go 1 to 20 and then going back to 1 to 20. What I do is I go to 1 to 5 and then I will review 1 to 5 quickly and then I move it to 10. And then once to 10, if you more quickly, I go over 1 to 1 to 5 and then do overlook to 10 and then I go into 11 to 15. Obviously, you have to take time to take this correctly because midterm so that you actually cover everything. Number five is more of mentality thing. You have to study harder for your midterms than your final exams. You're gonna obviously study harder for your final exam, but you have to study harder for midterms because that sets the term for the entire course. As you get a bad mark on a midterm, then the entire course it just gets you again. You're going the whole thing the whole time probably 2 or 3 months. Worrying about whether you're going to get a good enough final mark so that you can make up for getting a bad mark on midterms. Number six is having a strong mindset throughout the school year. I want to come across this a little harshly, but it's saying you do your best. I would say freaking you your best. At your best, really the top 1% of your class. At your best, top 5% of your class. If the program you want to get into the end has less than 10% accepted grades, is the being top 20% of the class good enough for you? No. If you want something, you have to get off of it, and then you will producing good results, and then you build confidence along the way. Number seven is putting the work in and outworking everyone, which is kind of quantitative to put in this video because it is study technique video. But compared to someone who knows all the techniques, but doesn't work hard. So someone who doesn't know any theory techniques and then just putting the hours and to the in and getting information into the brain is always going to be the person with better study techniques. I was the brighter person in class, so what I did was I just really outworked everyone. How do you know that? I walked into the library before everyone else. I walked out of the library after everyone else. I spent my time sitting on Friday night, Saturday night, and when everyone was going out and partying, and it was, one of the student that was living in the library at the same time last night, and he is now a cardiac surgeon student at the EQA, and things like that happen. Just have to outwork everyone if you really want to be successful. Number eight is getting a creative study partner and friend who wants to body at you. If you think it's going to be hard to find them, well, if you start studying at night as a library all the time, you tend to come across these guys. It's hard to come early in the morning and leaving late at night. Coming in weekends, but undergrad, I had a group of friends who I already studied with, and we didn't really did interrupt each other. We both time to study. We studied, we didn't interrupt each other, and we just when we were taking care of now and have fun. Number nine is staying consistent and staying on top of everything, especially in medicine where there's like millions of things going on. If you just do check of things, I get super stressed. So I have to be on top of every email. I have to be on top of every email, of, assessment and all the work that I have to do. Undergrad, and you're dealing with 5 courses plus your extracurriculars and everything going on. So you have to stay focused on top of things so that you can't fall behind and get stressed. Let me give you an example of consistency and why it is so important. You have student A, student B. You do student A, you're working Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, 3 hours each. Student B takes out to work on Friday but takes Saturday and Sunday off. Then that student B has fallen behind student A by 24 hours. So no matter how hard he tries, no, the next on Monday he studied 14 hours as opposed to 12 hours. Then today studying 16 hours. That guy is always playing catch up to student A, and when you curve in university and undergrad, you're just going to be you're not going to be able to compete against student A. Number 10 is physically controlling your anxiety and your worry. And when you're going through school, there were two types of warriors. One is someone who does study and worried about not studying. But the solution to that is simple. You just study. Number two is second type of warrior is someone who worries despite having done all the studies. And when you're in that position, then you need to write down what you are worried about. So on a notebook, on an iPad, or whatever, you are worried because you're not seeing what you are worried about. So you write a line halfway in the middle, write down what you can control and what you cannot control. And something like what you can control is waking up early, going to the library and studying for X amount of hours, and staying focused when you're studying. What you can control it is the actual grades that I'm going to get for this course. And so if I'm bored, who I'm going to be, I'm going to B plus, I'm going to A plus. You cannot control that. Just focus on what you can control, and you could just have to give on what you cannot control. Okay, so that's the end of my video today. So I'm gonna move to the 30-minute speaking video. Wait, let's go do it. Okay, let's do it.